Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. Welcome to week number 9. Super excited to introduce this topic to you this week, mostly because it's a part of hospitality that I don't think people realize. And also, looking at it from a different perspective of the impacts of COVID. And so this week is managed services. Managed services, most simply put, is those services that a company or organization doesn't have the capability to provide on their own, and so they outsource it or they hire another company in order to provide those services. So I'll give you a couple of examples, and once I start talking about it, as you're out in the world, you can start looking and noticing it as well. But if you think about large companies like Oracle or Google or Facebook and places like that, many times they don't want to, it's not in their specialization or their skill set to run employee cafeterias, for example. And so they might go to a company like Aramark or Sodexo or Bon Appetit, and contract their services to be able to serve all of the employee meals for a set period of time, for a set price. And so this is also found in schools. And so oftentimes school institutions, elementary school, middle school, high school, colleges, universities, would also have an opportunity to utilize managed services, primarily in their cafeterias. But also when you think about universities, they might have a stadium and football teams and dorm rooms and residential halls and things like that that they need to provide the food service to. Airlines is another great example. Airports is another great example. And, you know, I mentioned about college sports, but certainly major league sports as well. And I used to go to Giants games back when we were able to do that in person. And I think we'll be able to do that again very soon. And see that the name tags of some of the concession stand workers was not at the time AT&T Park or now Oracle Park, but a company called Centerplate. And so that got me thinking, and I started Googling and looking up different job opportunities in managed services. From a career perspective, let's think about some of the benefits, right? Well, for me, I like sports, and so that would be a benefit to be able to work in some of those stadiums. But also, many times office complexes or office buildings or organizations might do business from 9 to 5 or more traditional hours than you might find in other hospitality career paths. So that might be a benefit. That might be location. Certainly, when you're thinking about it from managing that type of business, you probably know how many people are going to be on the airplane and how many meals you need to have ready to go. So you kind of have a captive audience. You have you already know how many people you're going to be serving, and so that will allow you to experience some efficiencies. And so, managed services also gives an opportunity to those that maybe don't want a traditional career path. Or think about, wearing a suit and tie or something like that. And so thinking about the companies that support, for example, Yosemite National Park and Park Services is also a managed services. So I once had a student who was very interested in becoming a park ranger, and that was why she was taking the hospitality class. And so I want to point these things out because hospitality is more than just hotels, and we've focused on some of the basics or some of the obvious hospitality opportunities in the last couple of weeks, but managed services is probably one of my favorites because it's something we don't really necessarily think of as often. So I hope you enjoy all of the reading materials this week, an exercise on trying to look at the differences between Aramark and Sodexo. I will say that after this week, as a reminder, we'll have the midterm next week, and then the week after spring break. So there's a little bit of light in your tunnel here, so you can catch up on some of those activities and work. And let me know, as always, if you have any questions. I'll host office hours again this week, just in case you do. And I look forward to hearing how much you enjoy learning about managed services. Thanks. Stay safe and have a great week.